Mr. Hargrave here, coming to you live on Twitch, and we have a new series. And how do we kick off new series? Well, usually with Red Skull and Hydra, and that's going to be no different this time around. What we're going to talk about today is who to use in Dark Dimension. And we're going to kind of talk about Dark Dimension 3 and Dark Dimension 4 at the same time. Requirements are very similar, where you have the different traits between global and cosmic and legend. Well, legendary is a new one. You can use legendary characters in Dark Dimension 3, of course. Today we're just going to be focusing on global, though, kind of excluding legendary characters from that, as we very much want our Dark Dimension 3 plan to run simultaneously with our Dark Dimension 4 plan. And the one character I'm going to point out here, which you might be overlooking in your plan, is of course Red Skull. So Red Skull is a character that I took into Dark Dimension 4. I'm just wrapping up my Dark Dimension 4, my first run on Dark Dimension 4. Haven't gotten Doom yet. We're very, very close. But for the global nodes, this is the exact team I used, and I'm going to show it to you today on Dark Dimension 3 and just kind of talk through how it works. We have Ghost, Red Skull, Zemo, and White Queen. Now, I think you're not going to find a lot of arguments out there that Ghost, Zemo, and Emma are fantastic choices for Dark Dimension 4. It's Red Skull that you really have to consider, and what kind of people who should consider taking Red Skull into Dark Dimension? I would say people with high red stars on Red Skull should definitely consider him for Dark Dimension. The reason why is his summons are incredibly powerful. Also, Red Skull gives a great boost to a character like Ghost, to characters like Zemo, and characters like Emma, off of his special, giving that speed boost, getting them to their turns faster, powering up their abilities faster, almost working like a lesser form of an energy battery, like Shuri. So Shuri's directly giving them energy, whereas Red Skull is passively giving them more turns, which gives them more energy. So we're going to go ahead and show that off here. Before we go in here, we can talk about some other picks here for the fifth member of the team, or some alternatives if you don't necessarily want to take Red Skull. Some other options for you. X-23 is a great choice. I could recommend her. Though if you're going to take another mutant, I would lean more towards perhaps Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is the obvious choice. He is extremely good in these. There are definitely other examples out there of Mr. Sinister being put to great use in Dark Dimension. You kind of got to decide between Mr. Sinister or Emma, just cost-wise. It is very pricey to take both of them in. And when you think about how many great mutants there are to take in, it's definitely a consideration. I know Ultron was a good choice for Dark Dimension 3, kind of dropped off for Dark Dimension 4, might come back again now with red stars and become a prime choice for this. A lot of people take in Killmonger due to his skill trait. Also a very good choice. So you got some other characters here to pick from as well. Taskmaster, also a good choice. But for my lineup here, we decided to go with this one here. Spread out the traits between mutants, skill, bio, and tech. So easy team to get going. And we're just going on one of the very first, I think it's just the first node in Dark Dimension 3. We'll go ahead and hit auto on this and just kind of see what it does naturally. This team is overpowered. All these characters are tier 15. You only need tier 14 to go into Dark Dimension. Dark Dimension 3 is what we're in right now. So we're going to go ahead and just target Doctor Strange, because we know we're going to need to get rid of him quite urgently. But let's just see what happens. As always, we film this series live on Twitch. We have Ispert over there on the chat. He's excited that Black Bolt comes out in an hour. Black Bolt is a tricky character. Used to be something that we all wanted to take into Dark Dimension 3. However, now, maybe not so much of a good idea. There's a lot of other good bio characters out there to bring into Dark Dimension 3. We're already starting to see some of the great uses of this team. We're already seeing that Red Skull has done his special, and he's dropped a healer out here for us. So now we got a little healer buddy. It's going to give everybody health, which is really, really useful. So you got a lot of good healing with him. That you're also going to get healing from Ghost. Ghost is your true MVP. I don't think anyone's plan should be without Ghost. She's excellent in Dark Dimension. An excellent solo character just in herself. So we haven't had anyone die yet. Oh, we took a big ult from Cyclops and lived right through it. So Emma's very valuable. She's going to do a lot of buff clears, or debuff clears, and buff clears. She does both. Very, very useful character. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people are taking in Zemo to Dark Dimension because of it. He's probably the best skill character in the game, and that's not even just my own bias, clear bias. But he really is the best skill character, and if you're taking him, it really is worth considering Red Skull. Now, as you see here, we lost one of our characters here, but Red Skull, given that speed boost again. All right, we lost Zemo now too. So yeah, we lost Ghost, we lost Zemo. Team's holding up very well. Just on auto, we've already taken down 6 out of the 20 characters. So you can kind of see the value. You normally don't run these. Dark Dimension 3, kind of harder than Dark Dimension 4, honestly. But yeah, if this thing's holding up on auto, you can bet it'll hold up a little better if you play it manually. And it definitely held up well for me in Dark Dimension 4. After we're done here, I'll go ahead and show you my attack history in Dark Dimension 4 to kind of show you how this exact team held up. Now, for the first nodes, I did have Thanos helping me out. So that was a pretty good bonus to bring in Thanos. Because for the first few nodes, you get to bring any trait. And Thanos is Mystic. So you get to pick up an extra trait there if you don't want to take in a Mystic Global. I don't even know if there are Mystic Globals. Are there Mystic Globals?
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
I don't think so. Okay, so that was that run. You can kind of see that team in action, and it got really far just on auto, so not too bad, not too bad. Okay, yeah, we do have a few Mystic Global characters. We have Juggernaut, Elsa Bloodstone, M'Baku, Black Panther, and Scarlet Witch, and of course Doctor Doom. So, I can't really suggest taking any of these characters into Dark Dimension. It would be really hard to justify. I think the only one you could kind of maybe think about is Juggernaut or Scarlet Witch. If you were going to go really strong into Mystic for some reason and take like Mordo and Doctor Strange into the Cosmic Nodes, you could make a case for bringing Scarlet Witch in. However, she's, she could be really good. If you had high red stars on Scarlet Witch, you really like the character, might be, and especially if you already have her like at tier 14, you could consider it. That would be the one that I would kind of consider out of all of these. Maybe Juggernaut as well, but once again, kind of a tough sell for any of these. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you my history here on how that team did for me on my run. So as you can see now, I am nearing the end of the run. I'm on the second to last legendary node. I had a very easy time. Very easy time with this team. So I was able to clear the first node in just 2 attacks with it. And now this is adding Thanos, of course. Second node in 3 attacks. And then the third node in just 6 attacks. Now going into where it gets a little bit harder, of course, are just the global nodes. So this is the first global node. I did this in 1 attack. And the second one in 2. And now the third one did take 16 attacks. Now you can cut that down by taking in, I believe Mr. Sinister can definitely do this faster in less attacks. And definitely the combination of Mr. Sinister and Emma would be even better. But as you can see, I don't really feel that Red Skull held me back at all. If anything, I think this is pretty much average to do this in about 16 attacks. So Definitely a great character to consider. Red Skull, he's going to set you back a bit on bio, but because of where you're at in Dark Dimension, when you look at how Dark Dimension's laid out, you don't really need bio characters until you're not going to really take any bio characters into Cosmic. There's not a whole lot of bio Cosmic characters, especially non-legendary. You're going to need a lot of bio characters for City, but I didn't really have a problem doing that with the strategy. I had plenty of bio characters built up by the time I got into City that I wasn't really held back. The main thing that holds you back is this last Cosmic node in here. I think it was this one right here, Node 9. Node 9 is pretty vicious, and that one took 14 attacks to get down. So 14 days, basically, you're going to be stuck on like Mission 9. And this is pretty much typical to get stuck here for about 14 attacks. You can do it in less attacks, of course. Hela really helps out with this, but you can expect to be stuck here for a while. And this was with the full 5 characters. So I had Minerva, Glaive, Proxima, Thanos, and Silver Surfer still took 14 attacks. So you're going to get stuck there a bit anyway. So taking an extra bio in at the first nodes with Red Skull, really not going to set you back too much at all. Once again, you would want to change this plan and avoid Red Skull. Like actively avoid taking another bio character into the global nodes if you wanted to take like a bio cosmic character. I think the biggest choice that people were using was Cull. So if for some reason, if your plan involves taking Cull into cosmic, then you're probably not going to want to take Red Skull into global nodes. However, if your plan includes Zemo, and you have a good Red Skull with decent red stars, I'd say at least 5, and certainly if you have 6 or 7, Red Skull is going to be worth it. Some other things that would make Red Skull good. I mean, I've got a few videos on this as well. You can definitely find those on the channel. I think my most watched video right now is a video on Red Skull, so I've certainly talked about Red Skull to death. But a few things to consider as well if you're thinking about reasons why you want to put this in your Dark Dimension plan, is Red Skull's a phenomenal character. Right now, as of this filming, Hydra is still very much one of the best meta war attack teams. So you're going to get a tier 15 right on one of the best meta war attack teams. Plus, you're probably taking Zemo into Dark Dimension. So now you're going to have 2 tier 15s on that same best meta attack team. So you get extra value for taking Red Skull as opposed to other characters. If you happen to run the middle lane on the Gamma, there's another reason to have Red Skull a little bit stronger, as those nodes can be very challenging to only be able to take Hydra up through that, which we're actually doing right now as the Gamma raid, so very cool. Alright everybody, thanks for watching this new series. Let me know down in the comments. Let me know by liking and subscribing. If you'd like to see more of these, of course we can cover every section of Dark Dimension. This is just some information on how I ran the global section and what I used that was a little bit different than other people, which is of course Red Skull. Let me know if you like the new studio here, the multi-million-dollar set, and we'll definitely see you again real soon. You can trust me. Hail Hargrave.